Hey guys, and welcome back to Churn Farms. It is day 9 of midsummer, and we have made that transition from early summer to midsummer, and you can see our ground temperature is 50 degrees. But interestingly enough, it didn't hit that point until today. So I am a little curious and a little worried about our corn and soybeans because we're going to go check the fields out and see what kind of growth we have on them. But I'm not too sure we're going to get corn. I'm going to have to, I guess, kind of play the waiting game and wait and see what comes up or doesn't come up, for example. You can see off in the distance there, we've got bare dirt, the fields. Those fields there had corn in them. Put corn in those fields, if you remember. But we don't show any growth at all. I was expecting to see something today, since we did transition from early spring to mid-spring. You look at our planting schedule, see that we are now done. Yesterday was the last day that we could plant soybeans and corn. The only thing we can plant now is poplar, oilseed radish, and grass. So, are we going to have to sit and wait for 8 game days to see if we have anything happen on that corn or soybeans? I don't know. When we look at those fields, let's actually just go over there and look at it real quick. We look at the field with Farmer's Touch. It says it's seeded. Look at it with the... Oh, we don't have the... We don't own the Whoopster. Look at it with the Whoopster. It says growing with 0 growth. So I'm not really sure what we're going to see. I don't know if we're going to have to wait until late summer to find out if we get any growth out of that corn, or if it is a total loss, or if it's just going to sit there now all year long in the seeded state, or maybe something will happen. Maybe the corn will come up. If it does come up, though, then one has to wonder, will it get to the maturity point that we need it to be at in order to pull grain off of it? Or are we going to be basically stuck with only being able to chop it for chaff? So those are some things that we're kind of worrying about at the moment. We got plenty of grass. What am I doing? Pick this up that we mowed. We're going to do some animal care today. Like I said, we're going to go check out some fields. We already kind of know what the results are going to be on the corn and soybeans. And that is zilch growth. Zilch sign of no sign at all of any life out of those fields. Would really be a huge bummer to have those fields totally lost to us. And I figured we hadn't done an animal care episode for a while. Figured we'd do that. So what I've been doing with seasons play in animals, specifically cows, is since the cows won't eat the grass that's in their own pasture unless I cut it, I go ahead and just use the grass that's in the cow pasture to feed them their grass. Figure it's there, might as well use it, right? Got some excess here. We could either leave it in the trailer, or we could take it over here and drop it in the ferment silo, and basically let that turn into silage at some point. This silo that I just tipped it into, it is full to capacity. See, we've got 713,000 liters in that one. And we got 6,000 liters in the first one. And we got almost 200,000 liters of material to be converted to silage in that second bin. So we've got more silage than we will need duration of the time that we're on this map. That is for darn sure. In addition to doing some animal care and checking out some of the fields, we're also going to run down the BGA and take a look at that. We finished all the corn chopping, or not the corn chopping, all the grass work last night, and finished off the leveling and compacting last night, and went ahead and put the blanket over, covered up the silage, let it start its process of fermenting. And I believe it's time for us to say farewell to our sheep. Productivity of the sheep has dropped significantly since the start of summer. And the price of sheep is on a steady decline to the point where I feel that it's going to hurt us, as far as financially hurt us, to keep the sheep around till the end of summer, simply for the purpose of getting wool, than to go ahead and sell them off and basically collect whatever we can get for the sheep, because the market value on sheep is just plummeting. Let's take a look at that too. Look at our economy screen and we look at sheep. Sheep had a high price. They were quite the premium in the start of late spring, and they've been on a steady drop since, and they will keep falling all the way into middle autumn. Now, toward the end of autumn, they do start a little bit of a price rebound, and you can see that they're up here close to where the price is now, if not about the same at the start of winter. But we have to feed them, and we have to care for them, obviously, for that whole duration. And once we hit the end of summer, they're not going to be providing us any more wool. So I'm just going to go ahead and take down the sheep down to the docks, and see what kind of price we can get for them, and just kind of cut our losses, if you will, with the sheep. Ideally, it may have been best to sell those darn things in early in the late springtime, simply because of the value that they were offering back then. But we didn't think about it at the time, and now that we know about it, we should go ahead and see if we can't basically get what we can get for them. So we're going to put 10,000 liters of silage in this mixer. This mixer holds 22,000 liters total. I'm going to put 10,000 liters in silage, 8,000 liters of hay, so 2 bales of hay, and 1 bale of straw. All right. See, we're working down our straw in our hay piles, but not near as fast as maybe I was expecting. But then again, I think what we did was kind of anticipated how much would we need for an entire year of hay, and we didn't make that much hay the first cut. So, we have a year's supply of hay based on cut that we did in, I think, late autumn last year. So technically we have enough hay to get us by until late autumn of this year. So what I'm going to do, basically that's what drove the decision to not bale up any hay first go around this year. You've got more than enough. Here to care for our cows for the duration of the summer, and for some part of autumn. Right? That should be all the power food that we need to mix up. Take a look at the animals page just to verify. Yep. They're good to go. All we need to do now is get the cows some water, and we'll head on down to the sheep area. Just need to fill up our water tank. Apparently we drained it the other day and didn't fill it back up. Right. Some manner of realism, let's back the truck up to at least where the water looks like it's dumping in the trough. And this is going to take probably the whole load, if not a little bit more than the whole trailer, or the whole tank of water. You'd think if we had a water tank right there beside the trough, maybe we'd be smart enough to hook up some type of auto watering system. With a float level. But apparently our attentions have been elsewhere, and we haven't thought about doing that. See, it took almost, well, it did took the entire tank, and it will take a little bit more. Fields it's a little disconcerting. We may have lost crop as a result of the temperatures not coming up. I don't know. It's 48 degrees yesterday, so it did not, or 48 ground temp yesterday, so it didn't hit 50 until today. I don't know if that means lost a field. That means that those crops aren't going to come up until tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but next transition, which is, to late summer. See, we've got our barley here. Barley's looking really good. Any field that we planted in corn is just blah. It's just bare dirt. Let's go ahead and go right there. It's just dirt. Let's head on over to the pig area. Take care of our piggy pigs. Put soybeans in there. See, this field is blah. It's nothing. The Whoopster and Farmer's Touch both say seeded. As far as the status, it's just bare as all get out. I think I did miss the entrance into the farm, but that's okay. We'll just go the longer way around. Need to borrow that POW truck anyway, for our sheeps. So guys, what have you all been, what maps have you all been playing as of late? Always like to know what kind of maps you all are playing. Those that are watching the series. Are you watching this series because you're also playing on Churn Farms? If you are, what do you think of the map? How are you enjoying it? How have you tackled the difficult terrain, difficult field, not so much dimensions, but the field layouts? Well, that's unloading. Let's go on over here and feed us up some potatoes. Got a bucket with some potatoes in it. And that's it. That's all the potatoes we need to put down. And now we'll go over here and get our little trailer. We don't need any straw. We've already checked that out. Trailer here. And we don't need a lot of each grain. I'm running a newer version of Seasons. I'm running a dev version I've got, and they seem to have adjusted the amount of food that pigs consume. Pigs no longer take the massive amounts of food that they did before. So we can get by with feeding them just a little bit of each grain. See, we put just a couple 100 liters of wheat in there. That satisfied their needs. We'll have a lot of extra crop in our silo here for our what we were holding back for a sheep. Or not for a sheep, for pigs. Right there we've got 1,063 liters of canola. See, we have 18% of our protein left, which is the canola. And you'll see that this thing, basically it took 300 liters of canola. Top that off. So what previously would have taken, I don't know, probably close to 1,000 liters, is now only taking 300. Corn is even more significant. Take a look at this. So let's stop at 1,200. So corn typically would have been around 2,500 to 3,000 liters of corn to fill this trough up from about a 15%, 10% level. And now have just 2,500 or 1,200. And we basically used 800 liters to top off our corn. So the amount of food that you need to grow now for pigs has been reduced fairly significantly with the new version of Seasons. I don't know when that will be out. In fact, it may be out by the time this video airs. I'm recording this a little bit in advance. Alright, well, we're not going to need to water our sheep because, well, getting rid of them. Let's head on over to the BGA and just take a look and see how our grass work is done. See how much grass / chaff we actually were able to pull off of those 3 grass fields. I'll tell you, we worked pretty hard yesterday to get all 3 fields done and down to the BGA and compacted and leveled. I think it'll be well worth the effort. Look at that canola field right there. Nice field of yellow. Flowers on the plant have come out. It's doing quite well. We might be in a little bit of a pickle if the only crops that we have are the canola field right there and our corn. See, play on the window so we don't have the dirt. See, it's just bare. Not a stalk in sight. Might be in a little bit of a pickle if all we have is canola, wheat, and barley. You can see our bunker. Got a lot more chaff out of this than I was expecting. Got close to 1 million liters in here. Close to 1 million liters in this bunker. Pretty good. It's obviously going to take a little while to ferment. We won't have silage until late summer. But sitting down here cooking, if you will. Sell it down here. So we can. So what we're going to do now is, well, it's come time to say fond farewell to our sheeps. We're going to come over here to the dairy and pick up the POW truck. And the shop tells me that they've got an animal trailer up here that I can make use of, and they've already pulled it out for me to hook up to. Need a bit of an injection of cash too. Take a look at that. We got $611 to our bank account. That's why I said we might be in some dire straits if that corn and soybean fields don't come through. Remember, this is a semi, as does hold the AR stuff. We're going to use this in its semi-truck capacity. All of these bare fields, they They do concern me quite a bit. Our other big soybean field that we put in, it's just bare and empty also. Rush our trucks. That one is also empty, just sitting there in a seated state. Our trailer. Remember last time we used this, it was to pick up our pigs. I think that was the last animal that we brought down to the farm. Quite lined up on there. See if we can't get rid of ourselves some sheep. I don't know how many trips we're going to have to make. Kind of forget how much this trailer holds. We do have 121 sheep now. I think, what did we start with? Did we start with 98, 96? I don't really remember how many sheep we started with, but I do know that we purchased them at the low point of their price cycle. So hopefully we will earn some money back on the sheep, just in buying and selling at a good time. So it would have been a heck of a lot better to have sold these guys in late spring. They were at their peak of peak price, but well, we were busy, and quite frankly didn't really think about the sheep price at that point, and the fact that the sheep price would be dropping. So it's a little bit on us for lack of thorough planning and thorough thought. Go ahead and back around. Back on up into the sheep pen. See in there, we still have several bales of hay down here that we're not going to make use of anymore. Be able to at some point transfer that hay up to the cow area. If I remember right, we gotta miss the corner of the building there. Corner of the building will catch the trailer. Alright. Let's load them up. Hold 48. So we probably bought 2 loads of sheep. So we probably had 96 sheep when we bought them. So we've reproduced 96 plus what, 120. So that's 100. We've had basically had 25 sheep births since we purchased our sheep. It's not too bad. Bad of an increase across the one spring growing season. You could see if you kept sheep for 3 or 4 game years, how those numbers could really climb. Basically getting about 20% per year, not per year, but per year, because sheep will reproduce in spring. Getting about a 20% growth as far as reproduction goes every year. 5 years, you'd have double the more than double what you started with, because every year it's 20% upon the second year. It's growing 20% upon the 20% of growth in your first year. Third year would be 20% of the 20% of the 20%. I'm sure I'm butchering that math logic, but any rate, you can see that it compounds, that you're not just going to get 20 sheep every year. You're going to get 20 sheep the first year, then you're going to get 20% of the 120 sheep in the second year, and 20% of the 140 sheep the third year, and so forth. That's really where the pig economics is, because pigs seem to now reproduce with this new version of seasons. They seem to reproduce spring, summer, and autumn. Typically, for seasons first came out, they were only reproducing in spring. Then they adjusted the geo so that pigs are they adjusted seasons. So pigs also reproduced in autumn, and now they seem to have adjusted the geo yet again to where pigs reproduce in summertime also. Last time we had to kind of get up here, kind of back into see if the trigger has been adjusted. Last time the only way to hit the trigger was to kind of back in to that little corner, this trailer. Yeah, see, the trigger is technically in the enclosed portion of that area. Can't get in there. This trailer, it's just too large. But I was able to sneak it. Let's pull in the grass here a little bit. I was able to sneak it by snugging up against this corner last year. Let's see if we can't do that again this year. There we go. And let's sell off our sheep. $78,000. That truckload. Got another truck. We got another load and a half, I think. So that's another 78. Another $130,000. When I looked at the pricing earlier, 121 sheep was sold them yesterday. I thought about selling them yesterday. If we sold them yesterday, we would have got just over $200,000. Selling them all today is going to bring us $197,000. So just between yesterday and today, we lost $4,000 in value sheep. So, and you can see from the pricing screen that price was a steady decline from today all the way through till some point in autumn. They start to climb again. Could have probably made close to 300,000, maybe just 250,000 if we had sold these suckers back in late summer, late autumn, late spring. Hey guys, I've kept you for about the obligatory 30 minutes that I try to keep you. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please consider hitting that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. We do Let's Play content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over at Midtown, USA. Let's see if we can't back in a little bit closer. We also do map review videos, or first impression videos, I call them. Every Tuesday and Thursday, typically. And we've thrown Churn Farm back into this rotation, and we'll be offering Churn Farm videos on the weekends until basically until we end the series, which will be when we get to the end of autumn, depending on what we do with our corn. If the corn does come up. The corn does come up, and it might not mature the point that we can harvest it for grain, we may have to chaff the whole thing. And if we have to chaff everything, maybe doing some more BGA work. It's hard to say. Just keep trudging along here. So, encourage you to go check out PCSG and 3 Dudes Gaming Network. Both of those sites are linked in my description. Both really awesome community-based simulation-focused websites. Both of them are mature standpoint of how they interact with users, how other users interact with each other. I'm not going to go in there and ask a modding question or you ask a general gameplay question. You're definitely not going to get the response that that's been answered 3 times this week. Go look for it yourself. You get the response, and you're going to get it in a nice, cordial, and helpful manner. So it's often, sadly, a something that we don't see very often as of late. Websites. So go check them out. Both also carry open multiplayer servers for members, and it's a great opportunity for you to get into the Farm Sim multiplayer environment. If you've never done multiplayer, you should need to give it a try. It's a blast. Get in there and work with a group of folks for a common cause. I mean, you know, just yesterday we were chaffing grass. We were foraging grass, if you will, and we were all doing that single. We were doing that single player with horseplay, but it's great fun to coordinate a chaffing party, if you will, with multiplayer. Have one or more forage harvesters running. Have several guys running trailers between the field and the bunker, and then you can have somebody down there doing the leveling, and you can rotate and trade off. And basically, at the end of the day, you've got this hopefully this big bunker of silage to show for all your efforts. And you know what that leads into is then it's retaining wall. What that then leads into is obviously a silage selling party. Once the silage is fermented, you get yourself a fleet of either wheel loaders, buckets, or you get some belts, and you just you have yourself a party selling the silage. So, there's a couple ways that multiplayer servers are a great blast and a great hoot of fun. So until next time, guys, happy farming.